Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing good, and today we are here to learn about nutrition in plants, which is a class 7 science topic. So let's get started. And in class 6 you learned that food is essential for all living organisms. You also learned that carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals are components of food. These components of food are called nutrients and are necessary for our body. So, you must all know that to survive, food is necessary. To function, for our body to function, food is necessary. And you must all have learned about these nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. These are also the components of food which are very necessary for our body, and we consume all these nutrients on daily basis in our food. So yes, these are called nutrients, and these are very important for our body to function in a different way. So all living organisms require food. That is why we all need food to function. Plants can synthesize food for themselves, but animals, including humans, cannot. Plants, they can synthesize their own food. But how about animals? How about us? हम क्या करते हैं फूड के लिए? हम फूड के लिए या तो प्लांट्स पर डिपेंड होते हैं, या फिर जो एनिमल्स प्लांट्स खाते हैं उन पर डिपेंड होते हैं. So basically, indirectly or directly, we are dependent on plants for our food. Now Pooja wants to know how plants prepare their own food. Okay, so how do they prepare their own food? Okay, let's learn about it. Mode of nutrition in plants. Plants are the only organisms that can prepare food for themselves by using water, carbon dioxide, and minerals. The raw materials are present in their surroundings. So, plants, सिर्फ plants on this earth, in the living organisms, where we are the living organisms, humans and animals and plants are the only organisms that can prepare their own food by using water, carbon dioxide and mineral. And all these things, water, carbon dioxide and minerals, are present in their surroundings only. Now the nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged part of their bodies, and provide the energy to carry out life processes. So why do we need nutrients? We need nutrients to build our bodies, to grow, and to repair the damaged part of our bodies. And also nutrients provides us energy to carry out the life processes. Whatever we do, we need energy for that, and that energy comes from nutrients. So nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and utilization by the body. So the process of taking food and the mode of taking food by an organism and how do we utilize it, is this process is called nutrition. Now the mode of nutrition is in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances, is called autotrophic nutrition. Okay, so the nutrition are of two types. It can be either autotrophic or heterotrophic. So what is autotrophic nutrition? So as the word suggests, auto is equal self and trophos is equal nourishment. So autotrophic let's learn about autotrophic nutrition. So for autotrophic nutrition, we have this word in the word autotroph, auto, that means self, and trophos means nourishment. So basically they nourish themselves on their own. They don't need anybody else. Basically they prepare their own food, they synthesize their own food. They do not depend on someone to make their food. So this kind of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition, and that is why plants are called autotrophs, because they prepare their own food on their own as well. So the mode of nutrition in plants is autotrophic, and the plants are called autotrophs because they prepare their food by themselves on their own. And also animals and most other organisms take in food prepared by plants. They are called heterotroph. So animals क्या करते हैं? Animals always depend on animals and human beings. Both of them depend on plants for their nutrition. So that is why the nutrition in us, the mode of nutrition in us and animals is called heterotrophic nutrition, and we are called heterotrophs. Animals are called heterotrophs. And also this word heteros, it means other, and auto means self. That is why in autotrophic nutrition they prepare their own food, and we animals are dependent on plants. That is why we are called heterotrophs. Okay, so I hope these two kind of nutritions are clear. Now let's see what Paheli wants to know. So Paheli wants to know why our body cannot make food from carbon dioxide, water and minerals like plants do. Okay, that is a really good question. She wants to know हमारे पास भी तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड अवेलेबल है, हमारे पास भी तो वाटर अवेलेबल है, हमारे पास भी तो मिनरल्स हैं, तो हम क्यों नहीं बना सकते? What is the special thing that plants have that enables them to prepare their own food, and why not us? So, and now we may ask where the food factories of the plants are located. फूड फैक्ट्रीज कहाँ होती हैं प्लांट्स की? कहाँ बनता है फूड? वेदर फूड इज़ मेड इन ऑल पार्ट्स ऑफ द प्लांट और ओनली इन सर्टेन पार्ट? How do plants obtain the raw materials from the surroundings? How do they get the? We know that water is present in their surroundings. We know that minerals is present in their surroundings, and we know that carbon dioxide is in their surrounding. But how do they get it? How do they obtain it? What is the process? And how do they transport them to food factories of plant? Yes, that is a really good question. How do they transport it to the food factories of plants from the surroundings? So this next paragraph is going to give the answers to all these questions. So let's figure it out. Photosynthesis, food making process in plants. Leaves are the food factories of plants. What are the food factories of plants? These are leaves. Therefore, all the raw materials must reach the leaf. अगर लीफ प्लांट्स की फूड फैक्ट्री है तो जितना भी रॉ मटेरियल है वो लीफ तक पहुंचना चाहिए. So how is it transported? Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. So जो water और जो mineral होता है जो soil में present होता है, it basically take it from soil, water and minerals, and this is absorbed by roots of the plants. Roots, and it is by roots it is transported to the leaves. So carbon dioxide from air is taken in, wait a second, is taken in through the tiny pores on the surface of leaves. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. Such pores are called stomata. So now we know that the mineral and water is taken is absorbed by roots and is transported to the leaf. And how do carbon dioxide is transported? It is taken in through the tiny pores present on the surface of leaves. We can see some tiny pores on the surface of leaves. These absorbs the carbon dioxide, and these pores are called stomata, and these are also surrounded by guard cells. So we now know how is water, how do they get water and mineral, how do they get carbon dioxide, and what are the food factories of plants, which are leaves. Now let's take a quick look at cells. What are cells? You have seen that buildings are made of bricks. The buildings are made of tiny bricks. These tiny bricks makes an entire building. So there is a building block in our body as well, which we call cell. The bodies of living organisms are made of tiny units called cells. Cells can be seen only under the microscope. We can just see the cells through the microscope only. We cannot see cells by our naked eyes. We can just see them through microscope. Some organisms are made of only one cell. Some organisms only have one cell. Although our body has million and billions of cells, but some organisms are there which are only made up of one cell. Now, the cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called cell membrane. It has a thin outer boundary which is called cell membrane. Here you can see it in the diagram. Most cells have a distinct centrally located spherical structure called the nucleus. You can see the nucleus here. The cell has a distinct centrally located spherical structure which is called nucleus. The nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. It is surrounded by a jelly-like, a fluid kind of thing that is called cytoplasm. So we have learned a little about cells. You can learn about cells in your further chapters in detail. Okay, now Bojo wants to know how water and minerals absorbed by roots reach the leaves. So ठीक है, मतलब roots कर लेते हैं absorb water को और mineral को, but how does it reach the leaves? It is not enough to get it absorbed by the roots. We have to transport it to the leaves also, which is the food factory of plant. Now, water and minerals are transported to the leaves by vessels which run like pipes throughout the root, the stem, the branches, and the leaves. So, this water and mineral, these are transported to the leaves by the vessels which run like pipe throughout root, stem, the branches, and then the leaves. They are first absorbed by the root, then it's like a pipe, the vessel, then they reach the stem, then branches of the tree, and then to the leaf. So they form a continuous path or passage for the nutrients to reach the leaf, and this is the path. They are called vessels. These pipe kind of thing are called vessels through which these are transported. You will learn more about transport of materials in plants in chapter 11. You can learn more about it in chapter 11, which we discuss further. Now, Paheli wants to know what is so special about the leaves and they can synthesize food but other parts of the plant cannot. Yes, that is a really good question. Why only leaf? Why only leaf is called the food factory? Why does the leaf only prepare the food? Why not the other plant? Why not the other parts of the plants? Why not the stem? Why not the roots? Why not the branches? Okay, let's figure that out. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. Oh, why the color of a leaf is green? This is because of this green pigment which is called chlorophyll. It is very important. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll that also helps in photosynthesis. We are going to learn about that in now. So uh, it helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This green pigment, which is called chlorophyll, helps the leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize or prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. This is also very important. This chlorophyll helps because we also need, not we, the plants also need sunlight to prepare the food. And how is that sunlight brought to the leaf? By chlorophyll. Chlorophyll captures the energy of the sunlight and gives it to leaves. That helps in the preparation of food. So since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. Because food can only be prepared in the presence of sunlight. Plants अपना जो फूड होता है उसको सिर्फ सनलाइट की प्रेजेंस में प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं. दैट इज़ वाई दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड photosynthesis. As the word suggests, photo means light, synthesis means to combine. So this is why it is called photosynthesis. The process of preparing of food is called photosynthesis. And why it is called photosynthesis? Because it happens in the presence of sunlight. So we find that chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. So what have you used so far? We have used chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. We have used all these components to carry out the process of photosynthesis. So if somebody asks you what are the important sources that are needed to carry out the process of photosynthesis, these are chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. Without any of these, photosynthesis is not possible. It is a unique process on the earth. It is a unique process on the earth. That is why it makes it so important. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. Solar energy is captured by the leaves by the help of chlorophyll and is stored in the plant in the form of food. Thus, sun is the ultimate source of energy for all the living organisms. Sun, this is very important, sun is ultimate source of energy for all the living organisms. Okay, now can you imagine life on earth in the absence of photosynthesis? Can you imagine that? अगर photosynthesis नहीं होगा तो can you imagine that life? Is it possible? Is it even possible? Photosynthesis gives you the food that you need to survive. And अगर food नहीं होगा तो आप नहीं होंगे. So we cannot imagine life on earth in the absence of photosynthesis. In the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. The survival of organisms, all living organisms, directly or indirectly depends upon the food made by plants. As we already have discussed, some of the animals eat another animals, and some of the animals eat plants, and these animals that the other animals eat also depends on, they also eat plants. So directly or indirectly, all living organism depends on plant for their survival. Also, not just food, beside oxygen is essential for the survival of all organisms is produced during photosynthesis. Na sirf food is being prepared during the process of photosynthesis, oxygen भी produce होता है, which is also important for our survival. Can you live without oxygen? No. What will we breathe? So that is why photosynthesis is very, 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 very important. In the absence of photosynthesis, life would be impossible on earth, because it makes us eat the food, it makes us breathe the oxygen. So, and both of these are very, very important for our survival. Also, let's read this. Besides leaves, photosynthesis also takes place in other green parts of the plants, in green stems and green branches. The desert plants have a scale or spine-like leaves to reduce loss of water by transpiration. These plants have green stems which carry out photosynthesis. So since we know that the chlorophyll is the main component of photosynthesis, so whatever part of the plant is green, जो भी part हरा होता है, green होता है, जहाँ पर chlorophyll present होता है, that part can process photosynthesis, so it can also prepare the food. Okay. So, during photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight uses carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates. So, photosynthesis की process में basically होता क्या है? Chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates. The process can be represented in an equation. We can also show an equation to define the entire process. The carbon dioxide plus water, plants use carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to give carbohydrate and oxygen. See this again. Carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives rise to carbohydrate and oxygen. So you can also see a figure which shows the leaf. Here is a section of leaf which in which this is stoma, this is these are the guard cells. This pigment is chlorophyll, and here you can see a close picture of stomata, which here is the stomatal opening, and these are the guard cells. Okay, and here the diagram is showing photosynthesis. Here is the chlorophyll on the leaf. These are the roots which are absorbing water and mineral from the soil. This is from where they take they take oxygen from the environment and release oxygen. They take carbon dioxide and release oxygen. This is the source of energy, that is that is sun, which is giving sunlight to the leaf, and this is the entire process. It takes water and minerals from the soil, which get absorbed by the roots, and here is the chlorophyll present on the leaf of the plant, and which absorbs the sunlight. And here the, let's say, the uh, photosynthesis is happening. It has also taken the carbon dioxide, the stomata, and then after the process, it has given rise to carbohydrate, which is stored in the plant itself, and it has released oxygen, which we take to breathe. So during the process, oxygen is released. As I told you, oxygen is released during this process. The presence of starch in leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Starch is also a carbohydrate. So जो starch होता है leaves में, that indicates कि यहाँ पे photosynthesis हुआ है, because it is carbohydrate. That means carbohydrate has been made in the process and oxygen is released. Okay, now Bojo has observed some plants with deep red, violet and brown leaves. He wants to know whether these leaves also carry out photosynthesis. Okay, that is very curious of Bojo. So let's figure that out. So this is an activity. Okay, let's learn about this activity as well. Take two potted plants of same kind, keep one in dark or in black box for 72 hours and other in sunlight. So you can take two plants. One you can keep in dark where there is no sunlight for 72 hours. That means आप उसको 3 दिन के लिए रख सकते हैं एक रूम में जहाँ पर बिल्कुल डार्क है, कोई सनलाइट नहीं आती है, और दूसरे को आप रख सकते हैं सनलाइट में. सो लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपेंस. परफॉर्म आयोडीन टेस्ट विद द लीव्स ऑफ बोथ द प्लांट्स. आप उस पर आयोडीन टेस्ट कर सकते हैं दोनों की लीव्स पर, एंड देन यू कैन रिकॉर्ड योर रिजल्ट्स. Now leave the pot which was earlier kept in the dark in sunlight for 3 to 4 days and perform the iodine test again on its leaves. अब आप पहले आपने उस पर आयोडीन टेस्ट कर लिया जब आपने उसको 3 दिन आपने उसको जहाँ एक डार्क रूम में रखा था जहाँ पर कोई सनलाइट नहीं थी. देन यू कैन कीप इट इन सनलाइट for 3 to 4 days, and then again you can perform the iodine test, and then you can record your observations in your notebook. The leaves other than green also have chlorophyll. The large amount of red, brown and other pigments mask the green color. Photosynthesis takes place in these leaves also. This has shown that the leaf other than green color also have chlorophyll. They also have chlorophyll. The large amount of red, brown and other pigments mask the green color. They just mask this green color. It is basically present in the leaf, but this large amount of red, brown and other pigments mask it basically hides it. So that is why photosynthesis takes place in these leaves also. You often see slimy green patches in ponds or stagnant water bodies. These are generally formed by the growth of organisms called algae. Can you guess why algae are green in color? They contain chlorophyll, which gives them the green color. Algae can also prepare their own food by photosynthesis. सो आपने देखा होगा जो आपके जो प्लांट्स होते हैं जो पॉन्ड्स वगैरह में होते हैं उन पर कुछ ग्रीन सा जम जाता है. यू कैन सी सम ग्रीन पैचेस ऑन दैम. These green patches are called algae, and since they are also green in color, they also have chlorophyll and they can also prepare their own food. by photosynthesis. They can also perform the photosynthesis. Okay, now synthesis of plants food other than carbohydrates. All right, now let's learn about this. You have just learned that plants synthesize carbohydrate through the process of photosynthesis. We have learned that it produces carbohydrate and oxygen. Now, the carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That is why they are called carbohydrates, because they are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. They are also present in proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. From where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Okay, that is very important. कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स में तो कार्बन हाइड्रोजन और ऑक्सीजन होता है, बट प्रोटीन्स में नाइट्रोजन होता है. So where does that nitrogen come from? Recall that nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. So we know that nitrogen is also an abundant element. So it is present in air. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. Soil has certain bacteria that convert gaseous nitrogen into a usable form and release it into the soil. So what happens is, we know that gas is in the nitrogen is in the air in the gaseous form, but how is it make usable for plants? They cannot get nitrogen directly from the environment from the atmosphere to get ready to use. But there are some bacteria, कुछ सॉइल में, कुछ मिट्टी में कुछ बैक्टीरिया पाए जाते हैं जो इस गैशियस नाइट्रोजन को यूजेबल फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं एंड देन रिलीज इट इनटू सॉइल, और फिर उसको सॉइल में ही छोड़ देते हैं. These are absorbed by plants with the water. जब plants water लेते हैं तो उसके साथ ही नाइट्रोजन भी आती है. This is how they get nitrogen. Also, you might have seen farmers adding fertilizers rich in nitrogen to the soil. The fertilizers also contains the nitrogen. The fertilizers they also contain nitrogen. So this is why nitrogen is added. In this way, the plants fulfill their requirement of nitrogen along with the other constituents. Plants can then synthesize proteins and vitamins. This is how plants can synthesize proteins and vitamins. This is how the nitrogen is obtained by the plants. So I hope that is clear. Other modes of nutrition in plants. Now let's learn about the other modes of nutrition in plants. There are some plants which do not have chlorophyll. Yes, there are certain plants that does not have chlorophyll. They cannot synthesize food. How do they survive, and from where do they derive nutrition? Okay, that is interesting. Like humans and animals, such plants depend on the food produced by other plants. They use the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, that is really interesting, isn't it? So there are some plants जिनके पास chlorophyll नहीं होता है. Like us, they also depend on the other plants to get their nutrition. Okay, now do you see a yellow? Where is it? Where is the figure? Okay, look at this figure. This 1.5. Now, do you see a yellow wiry branched structure twinning around the stem and branches of a tree? Yes, we can see that. This plant is called cascata. It does not have chlorophyll. This plant does not have chlorophyll. Yes, we can see it is yellow. It is kind of yellow in color. It makes ready-made food from the plants on which it is climbing. Okay, it gets the food from the plant on which it is climbing. The plant on which it is climbing is called the host. Since it deprives the host of valuable nutrients, cascata is called the parasite. So this is wrapped around this plant. This is called cascata, and the plant around which it is wrapped is called its host. So it basically depends on this plant for its food, and it also take the nutrients, the essential nutrients from it, and it does not allow this plant to get its nutrients, so that is why it is called a parasite. Are we and other animals also kind of parasite? You should think about it and discuss with your teacher. Paheli wants to know whether mosquitoes, bedbugs, fleas, and leeches that suck our blood are also parasites. Have you heard or have you seen or heard of plants that can eat animals? There are few plants which can trap animals and digest them. Have you seen such plants? Is it not amazing? Have you seen such plants that अभी तक हमने सिर्फ ये पढ़ा था कि animals plants को खाते हैं, but now there are some plants as well which eats insects and digest them. Some plants may be green or some other color. They can be green or maybe of some other color. Look at the plant in figure 1.6. Look at this plant. The picture-like or jug-like structure is the modified part of leaf. This picture you can see. The apex of the leaf forms a lid into which can open and close the mouth of the picture. It is like a lid which can open the mouth of the picture, and the insect inside the picture, there are hair which are directed downwards. When an insect lands in this picture, the lid closes and the trapped insect gets entangled into the hair. The lid closes and the insect is trapped. So क्या होता है, इसके अंदर कुछ hair like structures होती हैं. जैसे ही insect उस पे बैठता है, it gets entangled and the lid closes. Lid बंद हो जाती है and then insect gets trapped in it. The insect is digested by the digestive juices secreted in the picture, and its nutrients are absorbed. Such insect-eating plants are called insectivorous plants. These kind of plants जो insects खाते हैं, इनको बोलते हैं insectivorous plants. Is it possible that such plants do not get all the required nutrients from the soil in which they grow? Is it possible that such plants do not get all the required nutrients from the soil? That is why they need to eat the insects. Bujo is confused. If the picture plant is green and carries out photosynthesis, then why does it feed on the insects. So about this we will learn in our next lesson. So that is going to be really very interesting, that why do they eat them, and do they not get the sufficient nutrients from the photosynthesis? Why do they rely on these insects? Okay, so I hope you liked the session. You can like it and you can subscribe the channel for more such lessons, and we will meet next time. For so till then, take care of yourself. Bye, have a good day.